Truth Unveiled here, and today I want to talk with you about what's to come after the Brussels attack, because we know the attack happened today, and now the question is, well, what's next? What's the bigger agenda? Because remember, there's always an agenda behind everything, and now it's time to uncover that. And so I just gone over a list of some things that are going to start happening now that this so-called attack has just happened. And so first, we're going to, of course, be seeing increased security at borders and airports. We're also going to be seeing more military drills, and to give them an excuse to do more military drills like Jade Helm and UX drills. We're already seeing evacuations taking place at airports and other different places, such as the ones in Denver, yet the mainstream media is being very silent about that. Not only that, but we're also seeing stage drills more and often, and we're also seeing, of course, our favorite, additional security measures, because of course they're saying, oh, now we need to toughen up the security because of these attacks. We need to make sure everybody's safe by putting on more police. That's what's going to keep everybody safe. Okay. So that's some of the things that they're going to be doing, and we already see it happening. It hasn't even been a day, and I'm going to leave the links below so you can see, but already within the past day alone, we see that France, Germany, New York City, Washington D.C., Boston, Detroit, Chicago, and Atlanta are all part of organizing getting more police on in public areas. Wow, oh, you mean to tell me all those cities need more police? Very, very interesting. Now I'm here at Bloomberg, and it says US toughening air security after Brussels terror attacks. And it says Obama promises helping tracking down Brussels attackers. Yeah, but we know who the real attackers are, and trust me, it's not the ones who they're telling you it is. It's the government themselves. And of course, American law enforcement hasn't received specific threats. Oh, because there always has to be a threat, doesn't there? But it says the US government is stepping up security measures in response to Tuesday's bombings in Brussels, as President Barack Obama pledged to do whatever is necessary to help bring the perpetrators to justice. How about starting with himself and all the other alphabet soups? That'll be a good start. But then it says, even though the U.S. has received no specific threats, because there's always a threat, security will be tightened at airports, rail stations, and ports in the U.S. with additional law enforcement personnel assigned to those areas, according to the U.S. DHS. Wow, the same organization funding in these FEMA camps? Wow, that's no surprise either. Isn't it interesting? Because I just said this in my Brussels video, actually, that they're going to be tightening security. It was already called. But it says Brussels became the latest European city to be targeted in a terrorist attack, because that's what they want us to believe, as 3 coordinated blasts killed at least 31 and injured more than 230 and deepened the sense of crisis across the continent. The only sense of crisis that it deepened was the crisis actors. Not only that, but when you look at footages of videos and you see the fake footage, I'm more convinced that it's a hoax more so than an actual false flag. But we're going to keep going. It says, at present, we have no specific credible intelligence of any plot to conduct similar attacks here in the U.S., Homeland Security Secretary Jed Johnson said in an emailed statement. Huh, or did they know something ahead of time, or were they the ones to plan it to begin with? But it says, however, he said the agency is very focused on the threat of either a lone terrorist or people seeking to travel to the U.S. to commit acts of terrorism, because this is the same story they're going to keep feeding us over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Acts of terrorism, 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 war on terror, war on terror, rumors of war, when we know who the real terrors are and the real terrorists are. We know exactly where it's coming from. And those of you who are woke, you know the agenda that's really behind this, and you know exactly what's to come, because it's only going to get worse from here. As far as I'm concerned, the New World Order has already begun. And like I said, when I leave the links below so that you can see all of the different cities worldwide that are tightening their security because of this event, then you'll see just the New World Order and martial law right in front of you. Of course, they're not going to declare it, and they're not going to say, oh, state of emergency, but it's happening right in front of your face. They're just doing it in increments, step by step. This is just the beginning steps of it. Remember, the capping of the New World Order. But it says, we continually evaluate whether More screening is necessary, particularly in light of today's attacks. Oh, more screening? You mean like more searching and more getting into our privacy of when we know who the real terrorists are? Of course. And they're going to keep that up too. And then it says, since the Paris attacks in November, we have enhanced information sharing about potential terrorist threats with both Belgian and French authorities, and we will continue this effort. Of course they will, except they forgot to mention the part where Paris was a hoax itself. Oh, but they're good at lying, aren't they? And they're good at fooling people. And of course it says Obama on a visit to Cuba said the U.S. would support Belgium in bringing those responsible for Tuesday's attacks to justice and called on the world to unite against terrorism. Wow, the world to unite against terrorism? You mean New World Order? One world government? I'm telling you, it's already there in black and white, literally. And it says we must be together, regardless of nationality or race or faith, in fighting against the scourge of terrorism, Obama said in Havana. The thoughts and the prayers of the American people are with the people of Belgium, and we stand in solidarity with them because they're going to feed us that same propaganda over and over again. And now that they see that people are actually waking up, and now that they see that these Sandy hoaxes are no longer working, now they're going to have to try any way they can to actually stage the real ones. And of course, it's only testing more until they conduct the real ones in America real soon. I said, it's only going to get worse from here. You can call that fear-mongering if you want, but sadly, that is just the truth. But let's keep going. Here we are at Time Magazine. Now, it's interesting because, like I said, of course, CNN would report something and would come out with this news report and call it, How Can Terrorist Attacks Be Prevented? Because they actually came out with a report on that just recently. Oh, I know how terrorist attacks can be prevented. How about you stop the Jewish Zionists as well as the government and the alphabet soups and the other Mossad agencies from conducting them to begin with? Then we wouldn't have terrorism at all. But will they tell you that, or will they keep making you think that it's Islamic terrorism? Oh, it's the jihadists. Because last I checked, that was even in the protocols of the elders of Zion. Oh, but you can keep thinking it's a hoax. That's what they want you to think. But this says cities across the world boost security after Brussels attack. It says authorities around the world have tightened security in airports, railways, and city centers in light of Tuesday's terrorist attacks in Brussels, which of course they give the statistics. That's what they want us to believe, but of course I'm real skeptical about it. Like I said, I really think it was more than likely another hoax, especially since it was committed today of all days. And you can watch my other video for that for more. But it says France. France will deploy 1,600 extra police officers to its borders and on public transportation, said French Interior Minister Bernard, and I'm not even going to say that last name, after an emergency meeting with the French president. He also said he would ramp up security in Paris with 400 additional police officers, as well as military patrols on public transportation. Do you see what's going on here? Do you see what they're actually doing? See, I'm telling you, it's a build-up. They're building up to the bigger things. So they're doing these little tests and these little events to amp up the security even more. It starts out small and they amp it up, just like with the Boston so-called bombings. Even though we know the real cause of it, what did they do? Oh, martial law in Boston, police in Boston. Oh, well, now because of this one event in Brussels, you mean to tell me they're deploying police officers all across the world, including Europe and America? And you're going to see that in a minute with the news articles as well. What is the purpose here? So we have France with 1,600 extra police officers at the borders. Now also pay attention to this, borders and public transportation. I just did a video a couple of weeks ago exposing the what? Toll roads in America, at least, that they're going to be converted into checkpoints. And I would not be surprised if this is also the case worldwide, including in parts of Europe as well. And of course, the Prime Minister of France says, we're at war. We've been subjected for the last few months in Europe to acts of war. I wonder by who is the question, because they're not telling you the truth. They never do. And then we have the UK here as well, where they're going to say, oh, David Cameron announced more patrols at train stations. Oh, no surprise there. You mean to tell me they're all announcing the same thing? I wonder why that is. Oh, as a precaution, forces across the UK have increased policing presence at key locations, including transport hubs to protect the public and provide reassurance. This is not in relation to any specific information or intelligence. What are they hiding? The threat to the UK from international terrorism remains as severe as it has been since August 2014, meaning an attack is highly likely. That's what they're doing. They're conditioning your mind and using terrorism to do it. It's the same thing, and most likely there will be another terrorist attack in London, of course. In other places in America, it's not going to be, of course, what they say it's going to be. It's going to be perpetrated, planned, staged ahead of time, if not a hoax, just like all the others, if not a false flag. And you're only going to be seeing upticks in this because they know people are waking up. They know that everybody's seeing just who's really behind it, and they know that these are all designed. And by designed, why? Because of the New World Order, because of increased military and the police state. That's why when I did my report on Hungary declaring a state of emergency, that was a test. They're getting ready, and they're using this as an excuse to do it. It's all staged ahead of time. And of course, they have the U.S. security ramping up in cities in the U.S. Miami's airport, New York City, the DHS, of course, is keeping a close watch on it, even though they're the ones who probably helped funded it. And then, of course, Germany as well. Now, Germany's very interesting that they would be planning for something, as well as the Nordic countries and Russia. Wow, why is it all Europe and America? What about all the rest of the world? Are they not preparing either? It's very interesting how they're making this a Western problem, it seems. At least that's what it seems. I don't know for sure, but that's just what it seems like. I wonder why that is. Now, here we are also at Reuters, and like I said, they've been planning this stuff ahead of time. You mean to tell me that only hours after all of this happened, that all the prime ministers, all of the higher ups, all of the globalists, all of the elite and Illuminati would all just so happen to come on the camera and come on the screen and say, "Oh, here's a solution. Let's all merge as a new world order, come together and fight off this threat, and increase the security with police officers and the sort to do it." No, that was all staged ahead of time, and it's only going to get worse. Like I said, why all the cities? Why do all these cities need to do this? Well, okay, one or two I'd understand. Like I said, it's a test, just like with the whole Paris hoax. Oh, now they have to do it in Belgium too. Now that they did it in Belgium, oh, now we have to do it in all these other cities. I'd understand if they were doing it in, like, okay, New York and, okay, maybe London, but they're doing it in over 10 cities are preparing for what? Just what are they getting ready for? I'll tell you what they're getting ready for: planned, staged events ahead of time that your government cannot tell you and warn you about, because they want you to think that, oh, it's terrorism, oh, it's Islamic terrorism, oh my gosh, there's a threat over there, here's a threat over there, here's a threat right here. Everything except the real threat of Zionism. Because where's Israel in all this? Israel is real quiet right now. I wonder why that is. But anyway, this report goes on to say major U.S. transportation hubs were placed on alert on Tuesday, and the DIA briefly evacuated part of its main terminal in a false alarm there hours after suicide bombings, of course, and it goes on from there. We know better than that. But it's interesting that they're all getting ready, and there's all these massive evacuations going on. There's all these things going on. The question you always have to ask yourself is, why are all these things happening right now? What is really going on, and why does it need all this attention? And the better question is, why is this being reported locally, at least in local areas, and why is the attention still focused on, oh, the Belgian bombings, but not on all the increased security, and just what are they planning to do through the increased security? And that's the question we really need to be thinking about. That's what we need to be thinking about, because I'm telling you, what's about to happen next? Well, we see the increased security measures. We see we're basically under martial law, undeclared martial law, the unofficial New World Order. And we know that they're already planning and staging and getting ready all so-called more false flag events, more so-called terror attacks. They're already staging and getting them ready to perpetrate them on American soil. And like I said, it's only a matter of time until they bring all of that to America. And you can keep sitting there and thinking that that's not going to happen, but I'm telling you, it's already already set, ready to go. Because like I said, you're going to be seeing, oh, you only see 1,600 police in Paris, but soon it's going to be 16,000, and soon it's going to be 160,000. It's just going to keep increasing and increasing. Why? Because they need to do that for the plan of the New World Order. And a lot of this, I know many of us already know this, but I just want to keep you all updated and let you all know that what's next is not good, folks, and it's only going to get worse from here. And it's no surprise that 5 jet flights from the Delhi airport were also had to be evacuated as well. Like I said, there's just too much going on to ignore the warning signs, and there's too much to really be focused on to really get lackadaisical. And that's really what I'm trying to tell all of you, is not to get lax, not to say, oh, that happened in Belgium, oh, well, now we can't be on our toes. No, now we need to stay on our toes. We need to be more alert, and we just really need to be ready and be watching all the time, especially now more than ever, because like I said, it's any day now, but they're getting ready for big things in America and in Europe, and whether you want to hear that or not, but that's just the truth. And like I said, you can sit there in that trance and in that dream or in that sleep if you want, but now is the time to come up out of your sleep and really get ready for what's to come. How can you get ready? Well, first of all, if your head is not already out of the sand, you can get it out. And secondly, you can seek Yahuwah and his true son, Yahusha. Start to learn the law, statutes, and commandments, because I'm telling you, when this stuff starts to happen, it's only going to be an uptick. It's only going to get worse from here. It's all downhill from here. The New World Order is basically here. It's unofficially here, especially on 322. That's a very, very occultic symbol in mystery religion in the Illuminati. But hopefully this will keep you updated, and hopefully you will start being awoke and stay awoke. This is Truth Unveiled. Shalom.